Alright, so I am finally starting to get to the point where I can be a little bit active now that I'm recovering. I am just a little bit over 3 weeks, almost to 4 weeks from my surgery, and it's been crazy. I hate just staying home. I hate not being able to train, and now that I can slightly be active, um, it feels great. Being stuck on the couch was not good for my mental health. Now, with that being said, I still can't do too much. I can shadow box in small bursts before it starts getting irritated. For those of you that don't know, my surgery, where the cut is right here, just right below my waist. So it's a little tough to deal with. I can't do a lot of bending yet. Still can't really lift anything heavy. So my movements are very limited. So it's a lot of boxing work at the moment and footwork. But I want to talk about 3 ways that I'm keeping myself active while I'm recovering. And this is something that anyone can do if you're injured or sick or can't perform to the fullest of your abilities, but can still do a little bit. Here's some relatively light exercises to keep you busy in your downtime, because we should be staying busy in one way or another. If you're really a martial artist, you don't go too hard. You do need rest. You do need to take care of your body. But at the same time, I know what it's like. And we have to do something. We can't be stagnant. So here's some safe things to do if you're not hurt too bad to keep training somewhat. Alright, so the first thing is walking through your punches, techniques, depends on your mobility, right? I can't really bend over given where my cut is from the surgery, so I can't really work kicks or knees or too much head movement. But what I can still work on is my punches. And I can do shadow boxing in small bursts, but in reality that movement irritates and I can't do a lot before I have to rest. But what I can do is I can practice the little minor details of my strikes that we often overlook when we're trying to go fast. For example, like knuckle placement, shoulder placement, hip rotation, things like that. So one way to work these, since I can't do anything intense, is to do this as slow as possible. So I'm going to get in my stance and work my way through. Let's say I'm working my jab. So I keep my hand up. I'm going to bring my shoulder up, turn my left hip in, and slowly but surely shoot that out, keeping it loose, chin tucked, shoulder comes up, knuckles make contact, hand squeezes, then I'm going to hold it right here just for a minute. Check my stance, make sure everything's good. Then I'm going to retract it, also just as slowly, making sure that my knuckles stay level, and I'm coming right back to my guard. And then I can do that with all my punches, right? I can do my cross as well. Turn my foot, shoulder comes up, hand comes out, rotate over, knuckles land, squeeze my fist, check my form, make sure I'm aiming down my barrel. And what I mean by aiming down my barrel, right? For if any of you have shot a gun before, or a bow, or thrown something, right? You have a sight. I guess not if you're throwing something, but you have a sight or you have something that you use to help you aim. So for an arrow, you're looking right above the notch of the arrow. If you have a gun, you literally have the sight. You might have a scope, but I'm taking my 2 knuckles, and that's my crosshair. So when I launch this out, I want to be aiming right down my arm and right between these 2 knuckles. That should be where my target is. So if I'm doing these as slow as possible, I want to make sure I'm aiming down my sights. Now that only works on the straight punches. Obviously, if I'm throwing a hook, there's no sight. The check for a hook is to make sure that my eyes are just barely above my forearm. But Anyway, if I'm going through my hook, same thing. Slow as possible. Boom. Back. Boom. Back. My uppercuts. I want to make sure when these land, my hand is even with the bridge of my nose. Maybe even the forehead, but I don't want to go above my head, right? It's not a Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. I'm not throwing like this, right? It's nice and tight and right here. Now, I can't strain a lot still. I'm not cleared to lift heavy objects, so therefore still very, very limited in what I can do. But depending on your injury, depending on what surgery you're recovering from, whatever, you may be able to still squeeze. So another thing that you can add into this, it's an old thing that we used to do when I was doing forms for karate, is you would do it in tension. So what that means is I'm going to basically be in my stance and I'm going to squeeze every muscle in my body. And I'm going to keep it squoze. I'm going to stay tense and force myself through it. It's like if anyone's ever told you like push your hands together and you're pushing them together as hard as you can, right? And there's equal force, so you can't go anywhere. Take that squeeze, but do it without putting your hands together, right? Get that shakiness, and you want that to go through your whole body. And no one tell my doctor I'm going to do this just for demonstration. But let's say my cross. So I'm squeezing my feet, I'm squeezing my hands, everything, and then going through as slow as possible. Boom. And then keeping that and pulling it back. And if you're squeezing your core and everything too, as tight as you should be, it's going to be hard to talk. But that's another way to level up. And that's going to build your strength. It's going to build your muscular endurance. And debatably, it's going to make you faster. It makes me feel like I'm faster anyway, after I get used to doing it with this resistance. And then, pop, so that's number one. That's what you can do, and then the tension's something that you can add on if you are physically able to. The next thing is working on footwork and stepping. So if you're like me and you can move around a little bit, but not a lot, right? So you can't move full speed in your footwork. What you can do is stay in your stance and work on building your calves and good footwork. So I'm going to make sure that my heels stay up. I'm not going to be able to bounce because I just can't with my wound. But I'm going to keep my heels up on my balls of my feet and keep my hands up. And I'm just going to practice my footwork, but in steps instead of the usual gallop, how we actually move. So I'm going to do it one step at a time. So if I'm going forward, my left foot takes a step first, my right foot closes the stance. Boom, boom. Then I'll move back. Boom, 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 boom. And then I get here, and I do that for maybe a whole round. Or I can just go down and back and then switch and go side to side. And then back. And I could combine that and just make it forward, back, left, right. Forward, back, left, right. Over and over again for a round, 2 rounds, 3 rounds, whatever. Just to stay moving. And then after that, then I can work my pivots, but as slow as possible. So it's a controlled pivot, right? So I'm here, I step, turn, step, turn, step, turn. Then I go the other direction, step, turn, step, turn, step, turn. Specifically for pivots, this is really, really, really good to practice, even if you're not injured. You should be doing pivots slow, so that way you get used to controlling them. Too often do I see people try to do their pivots and they either don't pivot far enough or they get too used to letting the momentum carry them when they go to turn, and then they over pivot. Either way, they're off balance, they're in a bad position, they usually get caught. So we don't want to do that. So even if you're not hurt, do pivots slow. Get used to turning the exact amount that you want to at that moment. You do it slow, And then gradually you can speed it up. If you're injured, don't speed it up. Don't hurt yourself. All right. I think the third thing that you can do is get on YouTube. Watch fight clips. Watch other martial artists on YouTube. Study. Learn their techniques. The brain is very interesting. There's a lot of studies on it that if you're thinking about something, you're running through it in your head, you will get better at doing it. The brain cannot tell a difference between thinking about something and actually doing it. Now, granted, your body is not going to physically change. So your endurance isn't going to get better. You're not going to get faster, anything like that. But you can make your technique better. You can make your hand-eye coordination better to an extent. Maybe not hand-eye, but just the way your body processes movement. If you watch a video on breaking down how you should move to throw a kick, how you should move to throw a punch, and you just constantly think about that in the little details, the connection between your brain and your body is going to improve. It's a really weird phenomenon. Brains are very interesting. That brings me to another note. Not everything while you're hurt has to be martial arts. A lot of the things while you are hurting that are martial arts related are going to be boring and tedious, and they're good things to work, and you definitely should work them. I'm not telling you not to work them, but if you're limited in what you can do, why spend all your time on it? You've got extra time on your hands. Make your brain smart. Look at some studies on the brain. Look at some studies on the body. Look up nutrition. Study things. Study weightlifting. Study body mechanics. Study anything about the body that may help you as a martial artist that you don't think about because you're so worried about technique and training and recovery and things like that. Just think. And if you're really, really concerned about martial arts, then think about martial arts, but do it through YouTube. Do it through what other people are thinking. Learn from them. Watch fight tips. Watch clips of your favorite fighters and watch the strategies they use and how they performed in a fight and see if that can help you come up with drills when you get better. The downside to that, if you are like me, watching things like that gets me really excited to get back to work, and I still can't. So then I got all these cool ideas and all these things that I want to work on, and I still have maybe 3 more weeks to recover, maybe. And even then, if I'm cleared for full exercise, I'm probably not going to be clear for contact, so I'm not going to be all the way back and operating. But that's a couple things to think about. All right, and then the last little piece that I have is listen to your doctor. Don't be hard-headed. Don't be stubborn. Don't give yourself more time off than you already have to have. The doc's going to give you advice for a reason. They want you to get healthy. So it sucks, but deal with it. You know, too many of us have that tough guy mentality, and we want to push through things. And some things you can. But if you're recovering from a broken bone, if you're having surgery, if you got knocked out, take your doctor's recommendations. There's other things that you can work on, but you can't tough through things like that. It's only going to get worse. Don't do it. It's a bad idea, and then you're just going to be out for longer. So take care of yourself. Also, if you guys didn't notice this nifty vest, this is the utility vest from SuperX. I just got this in the mail today. Really happy about it. Can't wait till I can try it out. But it's a nifty little vest for running. So you got like some reflective material here. You got some pockets. You can put your phone in. Super lightweight, not as heavy as a backpack. On the back here, there's a pouch. That pouch can either be used like a backpack to keep a couple important things, you know, depending on how far you run, some snacks, water. It's insulated as well, so you can put a camel bag in there. It doesn't come with one, but it's a nifty thing. I'm excited to take it out on runs because I usually like to carry some things for me. When I do run, I run for a while, but I don't like taking a backpack with me or shoving things in my pockets. It just feels like it weighs me down. So I'm excited to try this out. Material-wise, just like everything from SuperX, really good quality, adjustable straps everywhere to make it really comfortable. And it's a part of their surplus sale right now. So if you haven't checked out SuperX yet, I'll put the website link in the description below. and make sure you go check it out. Right now, these vests selling $10 plus shipping, so you really can't beat that. It is a surplus sell, so I don't know how much longer they're going to be in stock, but they have a lot of things that they have excess of right now, so huge discounts. I really recommend going and checking them out. I will keep you guys updated. The more and more I can do, obviously, the more fun videos I can make. I got a lot going on right now. I'm getting ready to move. So might not have my nifty home gym, but I'll find a way to make content. I'm also planning on coaching more than just the amount that I was doing prior to surgery, so that'll be interesting. And as long as my recovery continues to go well and I can hit things as hard as I want to as soon as I get recovered, possibly some fight news coming up. We will see. And I really hope so, because it would be cool. I didn't get to do it last time, but I would like to show you guys what it's like in a fight camp, what it's like, what my training schedule is like, give you a little tidbit. Get maybe some sparring videos in there. I don't know. I got a lot of ideas. I got a lot of things that I want to do because I've had a lot of time to just sit around and think. That's all I got for you guys. I'll see you next time. Stay safe out there. Peace.